So welcome everybody, and thank you all for chiming in. I really appreciate it. I do want to thank Volvo and ASICS, Volvo being our major sponsor, and the ASICS, of course, sponsoring all our clothing for the LA Roadrunners. And we owe them both a great deal of gratitude. Also, you know, we have some other sponsors, Evolution Fitness Physical Therapy, and we have Electrolyte, which is going to be our sport drink on the LA Marathon, and several other sponsors, which we're greatly thankful for. GU has come on board. They're going to be the gel, I believe, I'm not sure, for the marathon. And so there you have it. And Over Easy is going to be the bar at the finish line for the LA Marathon this year, a bar called Over Easy. And we'll again have Over Easy bars for you guys to, you know, check out at the end of our runs. They do have some protein in it from eggs. And so there you go. At any rate, so again, thank you. Tonight's talk, which I already mentioned to those of you on live, is going to be about what do you do if you miss a long run on the weekend, a Saturday long run with the gang. This weekend is going to be 15 miles for most of us. Groups 0 through 4 are going to be 16 miles. We are going to do 2 major hills. So what do you do if you miss this? Well, before I go into that, and kind of as a preface to answering that question, I want to say what pro athletes do. Pro athletes will really not do a long run, most of them, for marathon training anyway. You know, maybe they'll build up to 12, 16 miles, somewhere in between there. But what they do is they take their long run on the weekend that we do, and they kind of spread it out over the entire week. Now, they may go for 140 to 145 miles in a single week, but they don't have this like 20-mile single run. Oh my God, you can't stop. We can't stop. No, they go home, they take a nap, they have lunch, they get a massage, then they go back out again, do more. It's really more about time spent at an aerobic level, a low heart rate. We call easy pace training, and they have all sorts of different names for it, aerobic training, but it's usually just not the 20 milers. It's just spread out through the whole week. Is that a more efficient way of doing it? Would that be a better schedule, that we only build up to like 12 to 16 miles and then spread it out throughout the entire week? And the answer is absolutely yes. They're pro athletes. Their whole lives are surrounded about winning, and that's where they make their living. They need an efficient, effective schedule. I've talked about this before several times in the last 2 years, and I'm very open about it. The problem that we have is that we need to load a lot of those midweek runs, a lot of that midweek time onto the weekend where we have time to do it. I've been told on numerous occasions you cannot do more than, say, a little over an hour on any given day midweek, where pro athletes may do an hour, hour and a half in the morning, and then maybe an hour, hour and a half in the evening. But it's always AM, morning, PM, late day, 2 workouts a day with rest, recovery in between. Very efficient way to do it. The people that I know, yes, they've loaded some onto the weekend, but only built up to 16 miles. But the people that I have coached privately who did morning, evening, what we call AM, PM workouts, that's where they had their PR. That's where they had their PR. No, they did not get up to 140 miles. They did get up to like 60, 80 miles, a couple even 100. That's really pushing it. One person did actually go up to 90, and that became too much, as I thought it would be. and she wanted to try it. She was very successful AM, PM at 80 miles, however. And that's where she had her PR, qualify for Boston, all that stuff. Everyone's a little different. You got to balance it all out based on who you are, how much stress you're under emotionally, how much time you have. And that's why we roadrunners load those extra miles onto the weekend. I shouldn't say miles, it's really about time. Time spent at different levels of heart rate, mostly low heart rate, to build your fat burning engine. We have way more fat as a resource for fuel than anything else, way more fat than carbohydrate. You only have about 80 to 90 minutes of glycogen, which comes from carbohydrate. So your marathon, no human has ever done a marathon in an hour and a half, 80, 90 minutes. We need fat as a resource for fuel, or we hit the wall when we start running low on glycogen, right? Meaning you're pretty much walking, even though there's nothing wrong with you. Got it? And I don't mean walking like our speed walkers walk, not even our 7-hour walkers walk. I'm talking like dead man walking kind of walking. Really slow 30-minute per mile pace, not 16, 18, 20-minute per mile pace, but way slower. So basically, if you can't do a weekend run, what you may want to do, like 15 miles, you may want to go out in the morning or the evening and do 8 miles. Great, not the whole 15, you got 7 to go. Or maybe do 7 miles, you got 8 miles to go. Let's do it that way. 7 miles in the morning on Saturday, you got 8 miles to go. Do 2 on Sunday, then add that to your workout on Sunday, just 2. Don't add the whole 8 to one workout, spread it out like pro athletes do. Then maybe add 2 miles to your Monday workout. Whatever you were doing, we're talking the easy stuff, the low heart rate stuff. That's what we're supposed to be doing Saturday. Even on uphills, you're supposed to slow down way slower. And we'll talk about that at the very end of this discussion, way slower to keep your heart rate low. But then Monday, you add 2 more miles. You got 4. Then Tuesday's a day off. Great, take a day off. Then Wednesday, add 2 more to whatever it is. Maybe you're doing speed work Wednesday. That's usually the case. Add 2 more, maybe a mile at the beginning, maybe a mile at the end. That slow, easy stuff you missed on Saturday. There's 6 miles. And then Thursday or Friday, add 2 miles more, or maybe 1 mile each. Blammo, you're missing miles from Saturday. You've just spread it out, just like pro athletes do, a very efficient way of doing it. Yes, it will take 10 to 20, 30 minutes longer. Make sure, hopefully, you have enough time to do that on those midweek days. Fortunately, a lot of us are going to be on vacation this next week. I know I am, thankfully. I've been doing 7 days a week. So at any rate, but I enjoy what I do. At any rate, so that is the way to handle missing a long run. And group 0 through 4, you guys and women are doing 16 miles. So it's only 1 mile more, but same thing. Maybe do 8 miles Saturday morning or Saturday evening after your event, your Christmas unwrapping with your children. Please don't leave your children all alone without gifts, just so you can do a run. Do 8 miles, after lunch, after the kids are happy and playing with their toys. Let's not destroy their holiday. And then the same thing. Maybe add 2 miles to your Sunday workout, 2 miles before and after, a mile before, a mile after your Monday workout, which has a little speed work in it. And then same thing Wednesday and Thursday. And before you know it, there's your extra 8 miles you missed, and all good. So no worries if you can't make, I guess Saturday is Christmas Day, isn't it? It's the day. I think I got that. And then the week after, the morning of New Year's Eve. So At any rate, for those of you who've just chimed in and missed any of that, I apologize. This is being recorded right now, and there will be a playback really quickly on our Facebook site, LA Roadrunners Group Facebook site. I want to share, here we go. I want to share an idea with you guys. Here we go. You could probably all see this little whiteboard that I have here. If you miss a day, you do Monday, you miss Tuesday, and then you do Wednesday. Now, most of your schedules have a day off in between two, like a Monday, Tuesday, day off, Wednesday. So this is a very common thing. Your physiological loss for that one day off is 0. So you lose nothing from a day off. Now, you can always take that Tuesday day off, which most of us have Tuesday as a day off. You can always take that Tuesday and say you have something Thursday or Friday, and just flip the Tuesday with the Thursday or Friday, right? You wouldn't really want to flip if you're in a faster group on one of the level 4, level 5 schedules where you have a lot of speed work on Monday and Wednesday. You really wouldn't want to flip Wednesday and Tuesday, so you have 2 speed workouts right in a row. What you could do is flip Tuesday and Wednesday, but then flip that new Tuesday, that speed work on Tuesday, or Monday for that matter, with like Thursday. So you have easy day Monday, speed work Tuesday, day off Wednesday, and then speed work again on Thursday. You could kind of mash them around but you don't really want to have 2 speed workouts right Monday and Tuesday, or 2 days back to back. There are some pro athletes that will do something like near sprinting, like 100-meter strides or even 100-meter repeats, but only like 6 or 8 of them on a day before high heart rate work, just to speed themselves up a little bit. And that really sets them up. They'd only do like 6 or 8 of them, like I said. That really wouldn't be of value to us, because you'd be working the alactic system, which doesn't use fat or glycogen. It actually uses creatine phosphate. I'm not going to explain this, but we only have 7 seconds of creatine phosphate. So if you're going to be one of the leaders of the LA Marathon and you need 7 seconds to sprint to that finish line, might be a good way to do it. Other than that, for those of us in the age groupers, meaning all of us non-pro athletes, we are age groupers. We compete in our age group, whether you're thinking you're competitive or not. That's you're an age grouper. Age grouper. We wouldn't want to waste our time doing that. Work an hour to get 7 seconds. That's such a waste of time. But at any rate, so don't put 2 speed work sessions 2 days in a row. So if you miss 2 days in a row, say you can't do Tuesday or Wednesday, you're going to be out of town, you're traveling one day, your business the other, or family, or whatever it is, 2 days in a row, you're only losing 1%. Big effing deal. Pardon my language. 2 days off, 1% loss. You'll build that back up by the end of the week easily. 3 days off, now you're starting to lose more and more and more. 3 days off, now you're talking about 3%, 4%. And 1 week off, and it starts to multiply and mushroom, sort of. 1 week off, you're losing 10%. Okay, so if you miss a whole week because you're sick or horribly you had COVID, or you were quarantining, or whatever it is, or you're out of town with your relatives or business, whatever it is, if you missed an entire week for whatever reason, it happens. You get a little injury, you're coming back. Definitely, if you're feeling any aches and pains now, please, everyone, talk to me. Or talk to our physical therapists, or make an appointment to go see them. you don't want an achiness to turn into an injury. Basically, an achiness is you've broken up a lot of muscle fiber or whatever, you've created some inflammation. And when it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, more and more inflammation, more and more muscle tissue broken, that's called an injury. So if you're feeling achiness, yeah, if it's healing, you're sore, that's very common. After the LA Marathon, we are sore. But we heal pretty quickly. It can actually take 3 to 4 weeks after a marathon to fully heal all those tiny little filaments that make up our muscles, those micro tears that we don't even feel, can take 3 to 4 weeks after a marathon to heal them fully. But you don't need to heal all that stuff fully to continue on in your training. Okay, now, whoops. There we go. Okay, so let me show you something else here as soon as I can get rid of the whiteboard. Let me show you how you come back after 10% loss, right? So imagine, wait a minute. There we go. Now you can see me in all my messy hair. Say I'm having a bad hair day here. I'm sorry. Anyway, say, for example, you're on a week that, let me pull one up. Say you're on a week that is a 30-mile week, which is right here. Right here. Look at week 16. This is group number 5. This is the 4:10 finish time. This is approximately a 4:10. This is the 4:10 finish group, 4 hours, 10-minute finish group. They are on level 4 schedule, group 5. You'll notice 80-20. This is actually the level 4 schedule. They just prettied it up and got rid of this column over here with paces and got rid of these columns over here with complicated, this is what I look at when I create a schedule. The Monday through Sunday are identical to the level 4 schedule that you see online. Really nicely done. Lucy does that. Great job. Thank you, Lucy, so much. You don't need to see percentage rate of increase each week, but these are things I look at. So this is week 16, November 28th through December 4th. I only picked this because it's darn, whoops, let's go back. This week here, let me move me out of the way. There we go. This week here is really close to 30 miles. So if you lose 10% off 30 miles, that would mean you'd lose 3 miles roughly. If you did this week and then missed this week, you'd roughly be at 27 miles, which would essentially take you back to this week here. However, you can jump 20%, right? So 20% more from 27, that's 6 miles more. So that's really 32, 33 miles. So you could really jump, you missed this week, right? You're going back to this week because you missed this week, but 20% more will jump you over this week because you'll note 8%, 9%, 9%, almost 10%. You're only really jumping like 18, 19%, and you could really easily go 20% more. So you could jump right in. You could jump right in. You missed this week, jump right into the next week. Got it? There's your math. You're at 32, 33 miles off of 30 miles. And you lost 10%, you're gaining 20, you're good. No problem. You're on track. You missed a week, come back. I would say this Monday workout, you're going to be a little slower on what you're seeing, 10-minute threshold pace and half marathon race pace, HMRP. You're going to be a little slower. You're going to be a little sluggish the first day back, but those aren't really bad workouts to do. You may want to try and do a little extra warm up, some extra squats, maybe a little jump up and down, engage those muscle fibers before you do this. Your lungs aren't going to be open fully if you're coming back from sickness or you just haven't done anything but sit on the couch and, watch Holiday, the Christmas parade or whatever, all week long, which I don't think they show it all week long. But anyway, you're going to come back. You'll be a little more sluggish, but quickly your lungs will open up. You'll come back. You'll feel yourself again. You do lose a little speed. it comes back pretty quickly. You'll still have your endurance, the ability to go that distance, to finish that workout, even though it might feel a little slower, a little sluggish at first, especially. But you're back into it. Now, what happens if you miss 2 weeks? Okay, so you're at 30 miles, so you've now back down to 27. Then you miss another week. That's another 10% off 27 miles, right? It's not off 30 miles, it's off 27 miles. They're kind of diminishing for 10%, if that makes sense, right? So 10% off 27 miles would be, oh my math, would be 2.7 off of 27 would be 25. Let's call it a day at 26 miles, right? So 26 miles plus 20%, oh my, is about 5 miles more. You're now at about 31 miles. You could easily come back to this week, right? One of the first weeks you missed, and then jump the next week and jump right back into it. So it would take you roughly 2 weeks for missing 2 weeks to come back. Did that make sense? So you jump back into the first week you missed, you skip the second week you missed, and then you jump back into the group and back on track with everybody the third week. Hopefully that kind of made sense. Now on our schedule here, we normally, down here, you actually have a taper. You will notice this week, December 5 through 11, now this got flipped around again. Don't forget, we were at this final week of December 5th through 11th actually became December 12th through 18th because we were at Dodger Stadium here on Saturday. So our 14-miler we actually did the week before. But if you were having a taper week in the middle of all this mess, it would really depend, weigh it out on how you feel. You just had 2 weeks off. You probably don't need a taper week. You could probably skip the taper week and jump back into this build week here again. Or, well, actually this build week here, forget the dates. Got it? We always have 3 build weeks, 1 taper week, 3 build weeks, 1 taper week, 3 build weeks more, 1 taper week. That's how this whole season goes. But this last round, we had 4 build weeks, 1 taper. And now look at this. We are only going to have 2. This is this week, 19th through the 25th. We go 15 miles. That's this week. We're only going to have 2 build weeks this phase before our taper week, which is 6 miles. And by the way, January the 7th, we are actually going to be at the Rose Bowl running parts of, in fact, including the end of the Rose Bowl half marathon. So we are going to do that right there on that Saturday, January the 7th of this taper week in, what is that, 1-2 weeks from Saturday? We will be at the Rose Bowl. So, and 2 weeks before the LA Marathon, we will be at Dodger Stadium running the first 6 miles of the LA Marathon, just for you guys to get used to those hills. And we will actually be meeting downtown at a Volvo dealership toward the end of January, where you guys are going to be running part of the second 6 miles of the LA Marathon. That's a whole other ball of wax, but I think that's, what is that, January, here our 17-miler, January 28th, we will actually be meeting downtown at our Volvo dealership. Thank you, Volvo. Because we are going to run the second 6 miles, good chunk of it, of the LA Marathon. And that is kind of a taper week. It's not really a build week. It's only 1% build off the week before it. Excuse me, off the last build week up here before way up here before our taper for the Rose Bowl half. So at any rate, where is our taper for the Rose Bowl half? It's this week is a taper and this week is a taper. Right before that, that's where we meet. Well, anyway, trust me on this one. There was a taper before the Rose Bowl half. Oh, this week and the week of the Rose Bowl half, of course. And that week, those are our 2 weeks of taper. Sorry. Let me take it back. So there. That's about it. Now, let me talk really briefly about that's what you do if you miss a week or two. That's how you can come back for whatever reason, doesn't matter. Now, let me talk about what we're doing this weekend. This Saturday is going to be 2 major hills. And the key is not about learning to run hills. Really not, that's quite the deal. Yes, you will build strength from even runners walking up the hill. You will build quad strength, help you get up that hill better, more efficiently. Yes, on the LA Marathon in the first 6 miles, you will find when we do it 2 weeks before the LA Marathon, those first 6 miles do have some sizable hills, including one Temple, 1.25 miles, the same distance as Amalfi. And a third street, and then over, and then First Street. It's broken up, that same hill that goes up to Dodger Stadium at the top. Those 2 hills added up are about 1 mile altogether, and that's kind of what we're going to be doing on Temescal Canyon. So within that first 6 miles, you have 2 almost really about essentially mile uphills, similar to either Temescal or Amalfi, which we're going to be doing this weekend. So the key to getting through the first 6 miles of the LA Marathon is the key to getting through your 15 miles this Saturday. And that's low heart rate. It has nothing whatsoever to do with pace. Pace goes out the window. What I want everyone to learn how to do these hills, what I want you to learn from doing these hills is slow it down and listen to your breathing. Your breathing is indicative of what your heart rate is doing. If you're breathing harder, your heart rate is higher. If your heart rate is higher, you're using more of that limited reservoir. You're not using fat. You're using glycogen, that limited reservoir, and you're tapping into that much more quickly. You're depleting that limited reservoir. When you're out of it, you hit the wall, you bonk, you crash, you burn, whatever you want to call it. You're walking, even though your legs are fine, your body's fine, there's nothing wrong with you. You've just run low on glycogen, and your subconscious brain, unconscious brain, whatever you want to call it, your cerebral processes are saying, shut it down. We're running low on glycogen. We are no longer running. We're now going to force you to use fat as a resource for fuel, which you use more at low heart rate. So the name of the game is runners. It's okay to walk, especially groups 5 through 10. It's okay to walk up most big chunks of Amalfi. Yeah, sure. Throw in a few steps. Going up that hill, start listening to your breathing. As soon as your heart rate on your watch goes, and by the way, thanks to Coros, another one of our sponsors. But as soon as your heart rate goes up like 2, 3, 4 beats, just start walking again. As soon as it goes down 2, 3, 4 beats, start jogging again. You could walk most of that uphill, up Amalfi, and then same thing, Temescal Canyon, all the way solid 2. We are doing this Saturday, 2 solid, about 1 mile solid uphill, very separate from each other. You know where Amalfi is, you know where Temescal Canyon is, hopefully just beyond Sunset off the beach path there. That's this Saturday. So the focus is not on getting up there at race pace. The focus is not on high heart rate and I'm going to work and I'm going to beat it and I'm going to beat that hill. No, the opposite. The focus is on, I want you to be just comfortable. I want you to just hike that hill as runners. Run walkers, forget the watch. And I'm not talking Coros. I mean, forget the beeping. And by the way, Coros watches do beep and buzz and whatever with time. You can set it for time. Like you run, walk, you need timer. Forget the watch. When it buzzes, your watch is your enemy. Do not listen to it. This was the best thing I ever told the leggers through their coach. And I just kept hammering it into them. Tell those people to stop listening to their watches in the first 6 miles. When they're going up 3rd Street or 1st Street or Temple, ignore the watch. If it says run, it's trying to kill you. Got it? Run walkers walk most of it, same as the runners. I remember a story, run walk story. We were out there years ago, and there happened to be a legger group that was about the same 10-minute per mile pace that we were doing. And we kept passing them, and they would be walking and back and forth and back and forth. Well, we hit back then, it was 2nd Street. You went up 2nd Street over to 1st and then out. But now it's 3rd Street, same hill, same. They just give you a little more time to go from 3rd, a little more recovery time to go up to 1st. Anyway, so we're going up, we're starting the hill, and I'm calling it out calmly, okay, and let's slow down and slow down and slow down and slow down and slow down. And everybody, let's walk. And so right when I said, let's walk, the legger person was right next to me, maybe like 5 feet to my right. I'll never forget this. I shouldn't have said what group it was. But anyway, the run walk group from another group was right next to me. And this was years ago. They don't do it this way anymore. They have learned. So I'm not bad-mouthing the leggers. They're a great group. Tell Barry. At any rate, he was a legger. Also, Barry happens to be a road runner too, but that's another story. I hear this beep, and their pace leader, their mentor, they call it, calls out, okay, let's run. And they're now running up the hill. And this happens the same thing on 1st Street, the same thing on Temple. And they're like running up these hills. And when they get to the top, beep, and okay, let's walk. Which makes no sense whatsoever, right? They do not do this anymore. Tell your legger friends, I did not badmouth them. That's the wrong way to do it. It is so inefficient. You are so depleting your glycogen levels, run walkers, and runners as well, just running up that hill mindlessly. I had a group, an 8:30 per mile run only group, and they're walking up part of Temple. And everybody's screaming at him, you can do it. Come on, you guys, you can do it. They're walking, right? 8:30 per mile pace group. And they get to the top and they start running. They get toward the end of the race and they're running. They're going full bore. They're speeding up on the downhill, and they heard the same guys who call out to them at mile 3 or 4, you can do it. Come on, you get up the hill. Come on, do it. And they were walking. And they overheard them say, we should have followed those guys and walked it, And walkers, same thing. You are able to just stop. It's okay. On the big hill, just plain stop. Talk to each other, have a conversation, wait for the laggers to catch up a little bit. You don't have to wait for everybody. But walkers, it is okay to stop going up those big hills. And I know I'm rambling on this maybe a little too much, but it is all about endurance. Endurance comes from low heart rate, utilizing more fat, an abundant reservoir, and less glycogen, a more limited reservoir. Got it? Okay. With that, I am going to end my point of the discussion. Happy holidays to everybody. The one thing I will leave you with all this comment, the one thing I love about running groups and why we need more running clubs, why we need more running groups, like the leggers, the pacers. We're actually going to meet with the pacers when we meet at Rose Bowl to run the week before the Rose Bowl half. And the more we have these groups, the more people from all walks of life get together, have a chance to get together. I have always said, if you can get everyone in the world to go for a run, the world would be a more peaceful place. And I do mean run, walk, or walk, just the idea. Absolutely true. And the more training programs or clubs that we have, the more we will have this kind of homogenous society of people from all walks of life who get a chance to go together in complete equality. Where else in society do you have that kind of complete equality with people from extreme high levels of education to no education at all, rich people, poor people, all ethnicities, all ages, all religions, all together in complete equality? You're looking at it Saturdays, every Saturday. We have people from all walks of life. So with that in mind, I thank you all for chiming in, and we will see you Saturday. And again, once again, happy holidays. And for those of you I don't see this weekend, have a great new year. Start creating a goal. That will be very brief topic next week, among other things. And we will see you hopefully this Saturday or toward the new year.